The 2026 draft lottery just went down, and if you were looking for fairness, you haven't been paying attention to how Adam Silver runs this show. We just watched the Washington Wizards stumble into the number 1 pick while the rest of the order shook out in the most chaotic way possible. You've got Utah at 2, Memphis at 3, and Chicago jumping into that 4 spot, followed by the Clippers at 5, Brooklyn at 6, Sacramento at 7, Atlanta at 8, Dallas at 9, Milwaukee at 10, Miami sitting on both the 11 and 13 picks, OKC at 12, and Charlotte rounding out the lottery at 14. If you thought this was going to be a straightforward night for the teams that actually put in the work, you haven't been watching this league long enough. This wasn't just a lottery, it was a total shift in power, and half the league is waking up today feeling like they just got finessed by a bunch of bouncing ping pong balls. Let's start with the absolute disaster in Indiana, because I've never seen a franchise's future evaporate quite like this. The Pacers spent the whole year fighting, crying, and losing games just to have the best odds at that top spot. They were supposed to be sitting pretty. Instead, the lottery happens, the balls bounce the wrong way, and not only do the Pacers fall out of the top 4, but that pick, the number 5 overall pick in a legendary draft, goes straight to the LA Clippers. Think about that for a second. We are out here trading the entire future of the organization, moving every asset that wasn't nailed down, all for Ivica Zubac? I like Zubac, he's a solid big man, but we traded a top 5 pick in the 2026 draft for a guy who's basically going to be trailing on the fast break and spotting up in the corner while Tyrese is trying to run. It feels like a heist where the Pacers were the ones who opened the vault and handed over the keys. And the worst part? The Clippers are sitting there at number 5 ready to draft a monster like Darius Acuff Jr. This kid from Arkansas is an absolute blur with the basketball. He is an elite guard who's going to make defenders look silly on the perimeter, while the Pacers are trying to figure out how to play 1950s basketball with a heavy front court. The Clippers are going to hand the keys to Acuff, a pure floor general who attacks the rim and actually wants the moment. The fans in Indy are rightfully checked out. You go to the stadium, you watch your team get blown out by 50, and the consolation prize is watching your lottery pick head to Los Angeles while you're left with a center who might be better off playing in Europe than trying to keep up with the pace of the modern game. And then you look at Washington. The Wizards are the luckiest unlucky team in sports history. They've been stuck in the mud for years just spinning their wheels, and suddenly they land the number 1 pick. Dybantsa is the consensus guy here, and he is a monster. He is a kid who glides on the court and makes scoring look like he's playing against middle schoolers. But did you see his face when the Wizards logo popped up? That wasn't the face of a kid who just achieved his dream. That was the face of someone realizing he's about to be the main character in a tragedy. He's going to a place where development goes to die. They've got Trae Young and Anthony Davis now, sure, but the culture is completely chaotic. There are already whispers that Dybantsa is looking at Utah or literally anywhere else before he even puts on the jersey. He knows the history. He knows that in Washington, you can be a star and still feel like you're invisible because the team is never actually going anywhere. Speaking of Utah, that's where things get really interesting at number 2. If the Wizards stay at 1 and take AJ, the Jazz are sitting there with a massive decision. Do they take the brute force of Cameron Boozer, or do they take Darren Peterson, the most polished guard we've seen in years? Look, if you haven't watched Peterson, the kid is a real pro already. He's a big physical guard who doesn't just play the game, he controls it. He's got that old soul game where he gets to his spots, uses his frame to shield off defenders, and just makes the right play every single time. He doesn't move in slow motion, but he never lets the defense speed him up. Putting Darren Peterson next to Keontae George in Utah would be absolutely terrifying. But then you have to look at Memphis at number 3. The Grizzlies are already dangerous when they're healthy, and now you're going to hand them a top 3 talent. This is where the draft really starts. If Peterson is off the board, they're looking at Boozer. Imagine Boozer in a Grizzlies jersey. You've got a guy who is 6'10", built like a tank, and plays the game with the IQ of a 10-year veteran. He isn't out there trying to do too much. He just punishes you physically for 48 minutes, playing alongside Ja Morant. You've got Ja, who is a human highlight reel and a blur in transition if they add the pick and roll between the two. It would be a nightmare for the rest of the league. It's the kind of move that turns a playoff team back into a title contender overnight. The Grizzlies aren't looking to rebuild, they're looking to reload, and getting a guy like Boozer is basically like getting a winning lottery ticket while you're already rich. The Chicago Bulls at number 4 are the other big winners of the night. They had no business being in the top 4. They had a prayer, a 4% chance, and somehow they jumped all the way up. They're probably going to be the ones who end up with Caleb Wilson. They're getting a kid whose athleticism is so far off the charts, he looks like he's playing in a different dimension. People are comparing his bounce to the Thompson twins, and if you put him in a lineup with the young guys Chicago already has, they're going to be a problem if they can figure out how to actually share the ball and not just take turns playing hero ball. But let's dive into the middle of this lottery, because this is where the scouts earn their paychecks and the GMs lose their minds. Brooklyn is sitting there at number 6, and they desperately need a star. They are likely staring right at Keaton Wagler. If you haven't seen Wagler, he is a big guard with a jumper so smooth it looks unfair. He shot up the draft boards because he isn't just out there running cardio, he is actively hunting his shot. The Nets have been miserable since the KD and Kyrie era collapsed, and Wagler gives them a versatile, highly talented piece who actually spaces the floor and makes the defense respect him the second he crosses half court. Right behind them at number 7, you have the Sacramento Kings. The Kings are built on speed, and they have the perfect prospect waiting for them in Kingston Flemings. This kid from Houston is an absolute blur in transition. He has the skills and the athleticism to be productive on day one. You put Flemings in an offense that already wants to run you out of the gym, and it's a track meet. He isn't going to turn into a ghost when the lights get bright. He is going to push the tempo and force the issue every single time he touches the rock. Then we hit Atlanta at number 8. The Hawks are just treading water, trying to figure out what their identity is supposed to be. They need a guy who can handle the ball and make decisions, and Michael Brown Jr. is sitting right there. Brown is a wiry guard who's not afraid of the moment. He can be streaky, sure, but he is a pure offensive talent who isn't shy about letting it fly from deep. The Hawks have a habit of drafting guys who look the part but disappear in big games. Brown isn't that guy. He wants the ball in his hands, and Atlanta desperately needs someone who can actually create offense when the play breaks down. At number 9, the Dallas Mavericks have a chance to add a tough two-way guard to their rotation with Braden Burries. The Mavs need guys who refuse to back down, and Burries is built for that. He brings a great balance of scoring punch and defensive intensity. He is the exact kind of player who doesn't need the ball every possession to make an impact. He's going to fight over screens, hit the open corner 3, and do the dirty work that actually wins playoff games. Rounding out the top 10 prospects, you have the Milwaukee Bucks sitting at the 10 spot. Whether Giannis is staying or going, the Bucks need a unicorn-style talent, and Nate Ament fits that bill perfectly. He is a versatile forward who can shoot over the top of the defense and guard multiple positions. You can't survive in the modern NBA with big guys who have cement blocks for feet. Ament knows how to move, he knows how to close out, and he brings a level of spacing that Milwaukee desperately needs to keep their offense from looking like a slow-motion car crash in the half court. The most frustrating part of this whole night, if you're a real basketball fan, is seeing how the league rewards teams that just happen to be bad at the right time. The Jazz were out there in the fourth quarter of games, literally trying to lose. They were pulling their starters when they were winning and basically making a mockery of the game. The worst part is allowing Bam Adebayo to score 83 points in a single game, and the NBA rewards them with the number 2 pick. Meanwhile, teams like Sacramento and Atlanta, who are actually trying to build something and stay competitive, get pushed down the board. And don't even get me started on Oklahoma City at 12. They're already one of the best teams in the West. They have a roster full of guys who actually know how to play the game, and they're still landing in the lottery because of past trades. They're going to pick a high IQ guy who fits perfectly into their system, while everyone else is still trying to figure out where their players even live. As we head toward the actual draft, the narratives are starting to set in. You've got the talking heads on TV trying to tell you that this is a wide open class, but we know the truth. The top 10 guys in this draft, Dybantsa, Peterson, Boozer, Wilson, Acuff, Wagler, Flemings, Brown, Burries, and Ament, are the guys who are going to dictate the future of this league. Everyone else is just hoping to find a role player who can stay in the league without ending up on a 10-day contract. For the fans of the teams that got lucky, enjoy it. This is the one night of the year where hope is actually allowed. For the Pacers fans, I don't know what to tell you. Y'all are in for a long couple of years watching the guys we should have drafted highlights on Twitter while we're stuck watching a team that forgot how to build for the future. The NBA is a beautiful, frustrating, chaotic mess, and the 2026 lottery was just another reminder that at the end of the day, it's Adam Silver's world, and we're all just living in it. Keep your eyes on the trade market, because between the Wizards trying not to mess up a sure thing and the Clippers laughing all the way to the bank with Indiana's pick, the next few months are going to be wild. Don't forget to subscribe to Spice Talk Sports for your daily barbershop talk about the NBA.